What's the good word, everybody? Welcome to your New York Jets flight. It's the Jets Flight Squad here. Got a good show for y'all as always today. DKBxJets. We got Gunny Gumby and New York Jets situation report. Italy Jet, everything NYJ, aka Gino, in the building. We appreciate you guys popping in. I know it's that middle of the day, as Green Bean pleasantly pointed out before. But
with our show,
yeah. We catch y'all on that lunch break, so you good.
Yeah, it's cool.
Keep you up to date on your news.
Yo, so they I did drop some. Speaking of which, before we dive into it, so I seen a little rumor that we have a primetime game to kick off the start of the season against the New York Giants.
Yes.
Isn't that just a rumor though? Right now, it's not for sure.
Yeah. And it's not confirmed.
It's not confirmed,
but
it's coming from a lot of.
It seems likely.
Yeah. Monday night, right?
Monday night football. Giants versus Jets.
Man, I'm gonna have to go squeeze that.
It's a home game for us too, so it's a win-win. Situation.
I've been hearing more and more from sources, not only on Twitter but just in the Jets universe, that 5 to 6, and I think we should have 5 to 6 primetime games.
Yeah, I think that's the max.
Yeah, and then Monday night, that's perfect. September 11th, you unite the country. I couldn't agree more. I think we should do that. I think it's a perfect thing.
And so I know it's softball for the Jets, right? Like the matchup favors the Jets in this one. Let's be honest. It's Aaron Rodgers versus Daniel Jones. I don't think that's something most of us are terrified of. Saquon Barkley's unhappy right now, so you might have a disgruntled Saquon coming into freaking week one. And although I love Daboll, I think he's freaking an incredible coach. Like, he was somebody that I was high on my radar, but the talent's just not there, right? The Giants, they somehow snuck into the playoffs last year. I don't think we can explain that, but then again, the NFC is so weak, it does make sense to an extent. But come on, man, like that would be a great softball on prime time. And again, the huge benefit of that is it's going to be pretty much opening up September 11th, and just get to go ahead and beat up on the Giants. You know what I'm saying? To get started, a little JV competition, get the juices flowing before we go ahead and go deep into the season.
Yes, I know Dark Soldier made this point on Minds before too a couple of times. Where he mentioned he doesn't necessarily care for him because he knows it throws the training, the rest schedules out of whack, especially when we're doing like away games. So luckily, as Gunny mentioned, this one's kind of a layup for us. We're at home effectively. We might even have a bigger show out because we finally have a quarterback that can give us some solid performances. Yep. So to be honest, it's the closest home game we'll probably get. I know the last time we played them, it's like every 4 years, like the stadium's generally 70% blue. We generally have a terrible show out for the Snoopy game, but yeah, I'm not concerned. Daniel Jones, with him having Daboll next to him, maybe he can prove that he's worth the $40 million. But that's a big if. And then you talk about, again, Saquon Barkley, he's having the issue. So that's why they tried to draft behind him with Eric Gray. They didn't really address a lot of the wide receiver issues. They picked up Jamison Crowder. Nobody's really worried about him like that no more as a slot receiver. You're talking Paris Campbell being the next biggest option. They picked a speed threat in Jalen Hyatt, who's kind of a one-trick pony in year one. They do get Darren Waller, but I mean, overall, between the offensive line and the weapons and things like that they have, I don't want to say it's an easy in-the-bag game for us because I respect Brian Daboll's offensive genius. Yeah. But it would look good for us, right? Considering all the things we talked about before, playing with the lead more often than not. So you get the boys like Will McDonald, Bryce Huff to pin their ears back. I'll be more interested in see to me, actually, I'm more interested to still see what we do on defense than what we do on offense. I just kind of trust that Aaron Rodgers is going to solve a lot of that other stuff. Not even worried about the mechanics of what's happening on the offense just yet, but I do want to see if we keep rolling out 10 defensive linemen. I want to see who ends up taking that third spot. So it seems like we're slow playing the Quan Alexander signing. And then the safety situation. We didn't really address safety. I know Jarek Bernard may be in the mix there. And then we're talking about Trey Dean, the UDFA that maybe is in the mix. But nobody still that's really a free safety to fight Tony Adams. So That would be my question mark. I just don't want to see the defense fall off just for us to say we got a better offense.
I think
I
that
mean,
the defense, we should
here you
expect
go.
it.
Yeah.
I think we should expect the defense to fall back. I don't think when you look at the matchups last year, the defense, although they performed great against starting quarterbacks and banged up quarterbacks, there was a lot of ability to go ahead and fluff the stats a little bit in terms of some of the injured teams we played against. Even though we were injured on offense, our defense was relatively healthy. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, they were the healthiest defense in all of the NFL last year. Which goes a long way. Now, we should still be expecting a top 10 unit. That's that at worst on the field. But I think, being number 4 overall, the 4th overall defense last year going into this year, if we were to expect that to be the norm again, we're setting ourselves up for failure. I see top 10, potentially maybe even top 5. Maybe they hit that 5 spot because you do have to take into consideration, the maturation process of, a Clemens, a JJ, a Sauce Gardner, who could potentially be better than he was last year. Those things come into play as well. But for me, if I'm being honest with you guys, I expect this defense to be in that top 10 range, more so than that top 5, top 3. A lot of people are like, oh, man, top 4 defense, we're going to go ahead and take the next step forward. We were extremely healthy last year. Now, if we're extremely healthy like we were last year, then we're definitely a top unit. I think that you see the natural progression of the people, the rookies taking that next step. You're pushing it into that top 3. And again, we're playing with leads now, so they're rested. Which, again, another component that we forgot about, that those guys were on the field more so than any other defense last year too, right? So, there's some give and take there in terms of Aaron Rodgers being here, having the lead, those guys being able to rest a little bit while drives are actually being extended. So there's so much to look at, but I think for us as Jets fans, if we want to go ahead and just to temper our expectations, a top 10 defense is still an impressive unit. There's nothing wrong with that. It's an impressive unit. I think for me, I want to see more turnovers, but the safety room still freaking worries me, DK. Like, you hit that on the money. The safety room really still worries me, even though that it looks like they're very, very comfortable with Adams being there, Chuck Clark being there. Jordan Whitehead's still here, so I don't think he's going anywhere either. But I don't know, man. I still have some question marks at the safety position.
Gino?
I'm going to address the Rodgers thing first before I go into the defense and safety. I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a headache, and he's going to be the best thing that ever happened to us. There's a lot of egos when it comes to the offense and when it comes to the team in general. Yes, this is a different version of Aaron Rodgers. Yes, he's got a more chip on his shoulders. Yes, he's at OTAs. He wasn't really back in Green Bay. But this is a determined guy that is trying to prove people wrong that he can go to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl and do everything he can to make this Jets team great, because that was the issue of Brett Favre. Brett Favre didn't want to be here. He wanted to go to Minnesota. Rodgers wants to be here, and I think he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that we get touchdowns and we establish the running game, just like with Hackett. I think that's going to be solid because it's going to give the defense the boost. It was always so inconsistent last year when it comes to Zach Wilson, Mike White, and you could even put Flacco in there. It was too inconsistent where the defense had to play harder every single play. And I'm not saying that they haven't played hard every single game, but it was just they did their job. The offense didn't do their job. Now, if they have an Aaron Rodgers in here, it's going to look different. This defense is still going to be top 7 in my personal opinion. I still think it's going to be very good. Yes, there are some question marks because now Rodney McLeod is off the market. He just signed last week with the Cleveland Browns, and that's the guy I really wanted. But now I don't think we're even going to look at it at a veteran safety anymore. I would be surprised if we go after Johnson. But we got young rookies coming in, second-year guys as well, and I think overall they're going to give them a shot. And it worries me because Whitehead did not play good last year. I hope he has a bounce-back year, but it's very frustrating. And then you look at the linebacker position. Quan, they haven't signed Quan yet, but I want him here. I know you guys want him here, but what are they going to do? Are they going to give Barnes a shot there? Are they going to give Sherm more shots there? In that defensive tackle line, people are still trying to see what's going to happen with that. But overall, yes, the defense is going to be more determined than ever, and I'm actually really excited about it.
think the bottom line for me is, and it should be this way based on who we hired. The track record for the defense turning out to be good is proven. Robert Sala's done a tremendous job taking us from a bottom tier unit to a top 5 in 2 years. Completely tearing down the roster, getting the pieces that Joe Douglas has surrounded him with, and we're not talking premier capital at every position. So I trust that we'll do fine there. But it was a good segue to Aaron Rodgers, right? So I know the headline that might have drew everybody in: are the Jets getting the best version of Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of weird stuff as I've just been trying to piece together, what I want to discuss. A lot of people giving him flack for deciding he's not going to play like the full off season, voluntary, camp dates. A lot of people still questioning like the desire or the intensity for him to want to win and like all of this stuff in New York. So where are you guys at on the spectrum with are we looking at the best version of Aaron Rodgers since like his MVP season, or is there kind of some doubt here?
Go ahead,
personally, man, I think it's comical. I absolutely think it's comical that individuals can sit here and think of an individual like an Aaron Rodgers, who's probably amongst the most narcissistic players to ever play the game, right? This is a guy who's all about himself, who's all about making sure that he's visualized as a positive, right? Out of his way to go and do word plays, you know what I'm saying, about COVID shots and shit, just because he doesn't want to go ahead and appear to look bad in the moment. I think the Aaron Rodgers we're getting is the Aaron Rodgers that felt slighted for dropping in the draft when he was drafted in 2005. I think the Aaron Rodgers we're getting is the Aaron Rodgers that was like, why the hell are we drafting a quarterback in the first round when we need help, obviously, to get over the hump when we just made it to the NFC Championship game and then went to go ahead and win back-to-back MVPs. The Aaron Rodgers we're getting is going to be one that I think is in the conversations this season for the MVP yet again. People think I'm crazy when I say this, but I got a video in the works right now regarding how Aaron Rodgers was not the reason why Aaron Rodgers' numbers were subpar last year. And by subpar, I mean he had top 10 stats last year for Aaron Rodgers, which is subpar, right? So people keep calling him washed, and I sit there and I'm like, how can you call a quarterback that had 40 dropped freaking passes on 80% accuracy washed? Right, you're talking about 5 touchdowns, 300+ yards minimum was left on the field by like in the breadbasket type of play. So I think Aaron Rodgers is coming here, even if it's just to be petty, just to prove to the Green Bay Packers front office that it wasn't him, that it was them that go ahead and didn't allow them to be competitive. I don't care. I don't care if Aaron Rodgers is using us to make a statement. Use us. Use us all you want, bud. Go ahead and dominate the NFL. Take us to the playoffs. Give us a chance in the Super Bowl. We're 100% about it. I think that we're going to see that this year. I really believe, without a doubt, that Aaron Rodgers, a healthy Aaron Rodgers, knock on wood, is going to be in the MVP conversation come this season's end. I think last year, Aaron Rodgers playing with a broken thumb on his throwing hand and having receivers that couldn't freaking catch a ball unless he literally carried it to them and gave it to them is very telling. And people are going to obviously use the stats to go ahead and push their agenda. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to go ahead and take everything accordingly, Aaron Rodgers led the NFL in 2 stats last year that make no sense. 1, NFL passes dropped. 2, on-target percentage for those passes that are dropped. Those things usually don't go hand in hand. And yet, sure enough, Aaron Rodgers can sit here last year and say, like, hey, I threw my freaking passes at 80% accuracy, and yet we still had the league in drops. Like, to take it for granted, the year before, the Packers were 2.5% drop rate in the NFL. I think they were good for like 4th or 5th overall. Last year, they led the league, and it was almost 18.9% drop rate. That's a huge difference from year to year in terms of impact. And for me, I'm excited, man. I love it. I love the doubt. I love the haters. Let them all get it out now. Enjoy it while they can, because unfortunately for them, come season start, they're going to have a very, very hard time looking at the Jets to go ahead and poke their little jokes and poke their little fun. So let them have it now while they can, because it's not going to last too much longer.
Gino? Oh, I got you. Okay, I think he's trying to
issues.
fix some mic issues. Yeah, for me, same thing. I think all of it's a joke, right? It's the New York Jets. We've kind of been a clown show for almost a decade previously. People love the same old Jets mantra and all that good stuff. So it's New York. We're bigger than life. All of that good stuff. People got to try to poke holes in a good picture right now. I simply look at what's been going on, since his introductory press conference as reasons to be hopeful as well as feel good about what this New York Jets season is going to look like. You have all of his previous and present friends coming out of the woodworks: Billy Turner, Randall Cobb. Excuse me. You have David Bakhtiari making comments, speaking about how happy, how excited he looks, how revitalized he is to be in New York. You have him showing up to the games. You have defensive players dying to come out and get with him. I know he was just with Sauce Gardner in one of the playoff games. Like, not only has he kind of already done wonders for this offense with some of the comments I'm hearing from like Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, who's still working on his recovery, and the undrafted free agents that are coming in, Joe Tippmann on the line, Warren Carter, all of these guys freshly coming in. You have guys on the defense that are benefiting as well. He's kind of single-handedly turned around the entire team and unified them when a lot of people were assuming, and I remember this was early on for me as well, that he was going to be like a little bit of a locker room cancer or a headache. And he's kind of turned that entire, notion on his head for me. So that was the biggest thing for me 2 weeks ago. I kind of had to admit to myself, I was completely wrong about Aaron Rodgers based on the news conferences, how I've seen him conduct himself. I even had to go back and watch old Packers press conferences he was doing. That Aaron Rodgers from like the last 4 years with the Packers is not even close to what we've been seeing from Aaron Rodgers in just the last 3 weeks. So really, since he said that he wanted to join the New York Jets, 2 months ago? So I think, to be honest, and we talked about this before, that was a relationship that was deteriorating for some time. You have an MVP, a Super Bowl champion quarterback for your franchise. You're not taking any of his input serious when he tells you he wants a weapon. Doesn't even have to be in round one. Give me a solid weapon. None of these borderline UDFA guys that I have to, make an NFL wide receiver. Give me an offensive line and stop drafting these pass rushers. Like, the Packers aren't the team that's known as a defensive stalwart. Like, stop drafting these pass rushers. Get me a weapon or get me somebody on the offensive line that I can seriously have come in. And that's how we won the last championship. It was on the back of Aaron Rodgers' arm, or on his shoulder anyways. And the defense did just enough to not cost them anything. So I think everything's kind of in this refreshing, revitalized place for Aaron Rodgers. And it's almost like seeing him, I don't want to say like in his 20s again, but it's almost kind of like you see the youthfulness in him.
Yeah. It's, to me, I think the pure fact that at his freaking opening press conference, they asked that man, hey, when should we expect you at practice? My man said, today is tomorrow. Is tomorrow too soon? That to me itself kind of set the tone of what we should have expected, because I won't lie, I didn't expect him to be at OTAs. I didn't expect him to be at voluntary minicamp. I thought to myself, all right, it's Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't done it in several years. So I don't care. It's Aaron Rodgers. The system, he already knows it. We've already got Alan Lazard who can go ahead and kind of preach a little bit to these guys how Rodgers would like it, etc. So I felt good about that. We also brought in Boyle, who was a backup quarterback to Rodgers. So I felt, okay, we can at least understand like how Rodgers, how his cadence might be or whatever the case. I felt we had enough pieces that could have things ready for Aaron Rodgers when he walked into the building. But my man showed up before day one and wanted to go ahead and be a part of this process. And that, to me, said everything we needed to know, because Aaron Rodgers has not had this level of dedication to team since they drafted Love. And it sounds petty and everything like that, but in all actuality, like, since they drafted Love, that's when he stopped going to OTA. That's when he stopped going to voluntary mini camps. Obviously, your superstar MVP quarterback was disgruntled, which is obvious. Everybody saw it. And then seeing him kind of revert back to the Aaron Rodgers of old by showing up to these freaking practices is so telling. And to me, I'm telling you, if Aaron Rodgers is not in the MVP conversation this season, the only reason that happened, injury got him. That's it. And God willing, that's not the case. That's the only thing I think stopping Aaron Rodgers this season is injury.
Facts.
And I'm excited to see him light up the NFL.
Agreed. Yeah, I think Jordan Love was definitely the turning point because you're talking this is 4 years ago essentially now. And at that point, I don't care what anybody tells you. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm looking at it like I haven't told you guys I'm anywhere close to being done in this league. You're already drafting my replacement. And in an ideal world, maybe you let him sit for a year or two. But I didn't tell you I'm a year or two away. So it's like, why did we waste? Not only did we trade up, but then it's in round one. So you have those expectations. Why did you waste my opportunity to capitalize on another Super Bowl here? So everything that they've done since then just kind of screams like we're not necessarily concerned about you so much. We'll know that you're going to play to a certain level and all of this stuff. We're going to capitalize on what we can do once you're gone. And now you have a team that's investing any and everything they can into your well-being. So it's like even if it's not from an ego standpoint, how can you not go out there and ball out? Nobody can still tell me that there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks better than Aaron Rodgers in the league right now. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Patrick Mahomes.
I'll say
Josh
Patrick
Allen,
Mahomes.
maybe.
I don't even think Josh Allen, bro. People say Josh Allen, but I think if I had to pick another person that I would say, man, that's on par with an Aaron Rodgers. I love what I've seen from Joe Burrow the last couple of years. I think Joe Burrow would be my guy. I don't think Josh Allen is as good as freaking Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers seems to love when the pressure is on, and he seems to elevate his game. Right?
Thanks.
You've seen Aaron Rodgers make the kind of throws that quarterbacks are literally taught you never do. Aaron Rodgers not only does those things, but at a high clip, high accuracy percentage too. Like, it's just unreal. Hey, Josh Allen is good. He's definitely a top 5, top 10 quarterback in this NFL. There's no way fans or buzz. But if you're telling me, give me Aaron Rodgers or give me Josh Allen to win a game where, you know what I'm saying, win it and you're in type of thing, give me Aaron Rodgers all day. Like I said, for me, it's Patrick Mahomes is the number one guy. He's on top of the totem pole. And I really love me some Joe Burrow. I love watching the kid play. I love his swagger. I love what he brings to the table. And then I would say it's Aaron Rodgers. I think we got a top 3, at worst, a top 5 guy in the NFL currently playing quarterback for the New York Jets.
Fair point. I think I might only it's very debatable. I think I would only slightly have Josh Allen above Aaron Rodgers from the standpoint that his mobility is obviously better being younger. So if he needed to, if we're talking consistent, like short and yardage situations, 5 yards or less, I think Josh Allen could get it done through the air or on the ground. Maybe slightly better on the ground than Aaron. Well, I think that's obvious. I don't want to say slightly. Josh Allen is obviously a better runner at this point in his career, but I think he just might have the better ability if things broke down to get that done. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers in the AFC, we're probably talking about the 3rd or 4th best quarterback at worst.
At worst. And if we're talking about NFC, the only person that I think would even be able to hold his jock is potentially Jalen Hurts, and that's based off of what we saw last year too. So like that's not saying a lot because we're going off of what we saw last year, which was pretty special for that dude. But in terms of the NFC, I don't even think I think it's almost comical. When you look at the quarterbacks, vice what saying Aaron Rodgers is disabled. Like, he's a top 5 guy in this league, man. At worst, he's a top 5 guy in this league. Last year, top 10 guy statistically speaking, with a broken thumb on his throwing hand, and the worst freaking supporting cast around him in terms of catching the balls thrown their way. Like, you can't explain that away. And if this video that I've been working on for the last 2 weeks, I'm excited about putting it out there. Hopefully here, if not tonight, tomorrow. It breaks down so much of what this dude had to pretty much elevate the people around him, which wasn't saying much, right? To get to being a top 10 freaking quarterback last year. They were still in the playoff conversation towards the back end of the season, and he literally did not have a lot of help. Like, so to me, I don't know, man. I think what it boils down to is the New York Jets, in my opinion, this season should be the favorites to win the AFC East. And I'm not gonna lie to you. You say Josh, I actually would put the Dolphins second, man. I think that what the Dolphins did this offseason with Vic Fangio, like I really like that freaking acquisition because that defense before last year was a top 10 unit. Then last year they just fell off of a cliff. But since then they've also added freaking Ramsey, Bradley Chubb. Again, I don't think he's a top 5 guy, but he's a top 10, top 15 edge rusher in the league most likely when used properly. You bring in the Vic Fangio, man, and I don't know, bro. I think it would be a shocker if the Dolphins or the Jets aren't the AFC East champions next year. And not to say I don't like Josh Allen, I just don't like how Josh Allen operates when pressure hits. I think under pressure, man, he becomes erratic. He reverts to what he was his rookie year, an individual depending more so on his physical abilities than being able to analyze the field, good footwork to go ahead and get those throws down there. He tries to go back to what he was as a rookie. And it shows. So for me, yeah, I think the more complete teams are between the Jets and the Dolphins in the AFC East. So I'm excited about the season, man. I can't freaking wait for the season to start already. Like I'm anxious.
I'm hoping that schedule actually gets released on the 11th. I know I was seeing that there might have been some last minute things that will cause a schedule delay, but I just kind of want to see how things are lined up for us. But yeah, I don't think it's too far off to say the Jets or the Dolphins should be the favorite. I usually just kind of tip my hat to who's been either dominating the division most recently. So I leave it to the Bills for that. But yeah, a lot of people, I think they don't realize, and I'm trying to remember who his guy was. Josh Allen's quarterback coach left like 2 years ago or something like that. And since he left, you haven't seen Josh Allen continue on like this uptick with his career. Things have kind of started to trail off. And as you mentioned, close games, if pressure gets to him, the man just kind of turns into warm butter all of a sudden. And it looks bad, right? That's why a lot of people were clowning the Bills last year when we played them and we almost beat them with Zach Wilson twice. Like, they're not as invincible as they used to be. That defense obviously had to fall apart with all the cap that they were burning into it. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, Josh Allen, for as much hype as he's gotten in, generally top 5, top 10 quarterback, somewhere in that range for sure. I can't say that I've seen him do what Aaron Rodgers and the Tom Brady's of the world have done, where he's elevated people on his team.
No.
They brought in Stephon Diggs, already a bona fide number 1. You had Jamison Crowder. He ended up falling out into ranks of barely seeing the field. Who was it? He had a bunch of slot receivers at some point, but
it's. I look at the Bills games, and of course you look at their roster, and then we go off of what we know, like you just said, right? These have been the guys kicking our ass in the AFC East. But then you really analyze and you look back and you're like, yo, Josh Allen under pressure is not impressive. It's just not. Like, this is the guy that, again, when you gave him, a bona fide number 1, right, and Diggs, oh, shit, okay, cool. This dude can ball. He can play football. But he hasn't elevated anybody around him. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't elevated any tight ends. No, he has a bona fide number 1 who showed up there as number 1. And that's his go-to guy, right? Gabe Davis can't, he's 50-50, right, in terms of if he's going to catch the ball or if he's not. But he hasn't elevated Gabe Davis either, right? You've seen the likes of Patrick Mahomes elevate that roster last year to a Super Bowl championship. Like, when they lost freaking Tyreek Hill, we thought, man, this is going to be a lot more difficult.
Thought it was going to the slums.
Right, bro? No, this Super Bowl champion. No big deal, right? You've seen Aaron Rodgers elevate freaking squads around him, to greatness. When they leave the Packers, they tend to go ahead and fall off of a cliff. Nobody hears about them again, with the exception of Devontae Adams, who's just special. That does happen. But think about the other Packers receivers and weapons that have left the Packers. Post Rodgers, they fall off of a map. You don't even hear about them anymore. Like Tom Brady, he elevated freaking Patriots teams that you were saying, they're like, who the freak do they have on offense? Vice Gronkowski, who was a consistent freaking anchor, the wide receivers there, fall off of a cliff.
Tom Brady might have actually made the slot wide receiver position known as a starting unit with how he's developed those guys.
Yep. Bro, it's
hate to say it, but yeah,
it sucks to say it. But if we're historians of the game or we're students of the game, we got to be honest with ourselves. Like Tom Brady God, I despise the man, but yes, he slot receiver became an important aspect in a football game, probably because of that man. Let's be honest, and it's just one of those things where I don't I don't think Josh Allen can do that. I like Tua because of his quick release. I like Tua because of his accuracy. Tua is the kind of person who's not going to go ahead and force the ball, right? But the problem with that is this. I think with Tua is, can he create for his weapons, right? Is he going to elevate players around him? I don't think he can. I think you got to put Tua around the kind of individuals like the Tyreek Hills or Jalen Waddles who are going to go ahead and make those plays, be on time where the ball's supposed to be. So in all actuality, when you look at the AFC East, we've got the one quarterback that should elevate the weapons around them to another level, right? So we thought Garrett Wilson was amazing last year. Imagine him now with freaking Aaron Rodgers. Freaking, we haven't seen close to 1,000 yards from Corey Davis since he was in Tennessee. Well, he's now got Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback. Like, these are components that we got to look at, and we're going to see these guys explode onto the field and do things that we didn't think possible because we didn't have an Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. This, like I said before, this season can't get here fast enough. It really cannot get here fast enough.
Yeah, facts. Super hyped for it. It's trying to think. I know I had seen somebody like predict what the beginning of our season was, but considering the rumor that we have the Giants starting the season, I think they were like way off. But I know generally it doesn't favor us. Like we have, I think we know the teams, we just don't know the order and all that. And I think it was the sixth strongest schedule heading into the season based off last season's record, something like that. So,
right.
This will be the time where now suddenly we've always kind of felt like we were a quarterback and maybe one or two positions away. This is the first time it kind of feels like, even though there's still some soft spots, that we have a generally complete team. So I want to finally start seeing us, and I felt like we talked about this a bit before. We need to start trying to think what's the best way to put this. We need to start kind of being the alpha dogs on the field and not necessarily playing to the level of the teams that we're facing. So the Giants, for everything that they've done last year, getting to the playoffs, even winning a game, I feel like we're head and shoulders above them now with an Aaron Rodgers in place and looking at the two rosters. So like when that game comes around, if it is week 1, I need to go up and see. I'm not saying we need to be up 3 touchdowns, but it needs to look like a dominant performance by us. Like Aaron Rodgers should be looking to say, like, all right, maybe you can bring in, Tim Boyle or Zach Wilson or something. It's the fourth quarter. They're obviously not coming back. We're running the ball. Like I'm ready for that experience. I don't want to be sitting there biting my nails at the end. And I know a lot of people were like pointing out last year for Aaron Rodgers, and we've already ran through a list of injuries. Or a list of issues, the thumb injury, the supporting cast. The drop people passes. Are talking about with Aaron Rodgers leaving, they're talking about Christian Watson has a breakout weapon in Romeo Doubs. And it doesn't happen without Aaron Rodgers. Christian Watson couldn't catch the ball to save his life the first half of the season. Got it together. Aaron Rodgers almost made him a 1,000-yard receiver. Romeo Doubs, same thing. Butterfingers. Nothing known, but now he's being looked at as a strong slot option, maybe potentially a number 2 in like the Elijah Moore mold. Obviously not as athletic and all that kind of stuff, but Romeo Doubs was a 4th-round pick that many people thought, maybe they reached a little bit high on, if I'm remembering correctly. So you're still talking about him leaving his blueprint on him. Fourth quarter statistics last year, 54% completion, the second worst mark of Aaron Rodgers' career. 5.5 yards per attempt and a 2-to-2 touchdown to interception ratio. We're blowing all of that out of the water. He doesn't have the same supporting cast. The running back room you can debate is maybe better off, worse off. It is what it is. At least from a health standpoint, they looked better, but I think we have the explosion on our end. Those
our room, I think, is significantly better. I don't care what. It's not even close. Bro,
look,
they're also their offensive line, right? Another thing people keep saying, like, oh, well, your offensive line is trash. Well, if you actually look at the pressure rate allowed by their offensive line, a lot of it was alleviated by freaking Aaron Rodgers having to extend outside of the pocket last season. Their offensive line got saved by Aaron Rodgers as well. They weren't a great offensive line. They allowed a lot of pressure. Aaron Rodgers was able to extend plays and do Aaron Rodgers things, throw off platform, make complete. So it didn't look as bad because he was still completing passes behind that line. But if you watch the games, the offensive line was not impressive. They just happened to have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. So, unfortunately for them, they didn't have to worry about taking those sacks, right, or taking those hits because he can get the ball out that quickly, off platform, still make things happen. I'm telling you, man, the Packers right now, and my wife's a Packers fan, so y'all already know this. She's a Packers fan. Yeah. But even she's like, shit. She's like, man, look, I just want Love to at least pretend like he can play football at this level, right? I've been watching minicamp because she watches mini. I've been watching minicamp right now of the Packers, and I'm like, okay, that's y'all quarterback. Like he, even in minicamp right now, man, like he looks lost. His throws are erratic. They're just all over the place. People are gonna realize. Well, let me rephrase that. The Packers are gonna realize real quickly. In fact, people are gonna realize real quickly the reason why that organization was amongst the elite time in and time again was because Aaron Rodgers is that dude, and he's not there anymore. He can't elevate freaking average guys to be good guys to be great guys to be elite. Can't do it if he's not there anymore. And to ask Jordan Love to try to be an Aaron Rodgers, good freaking luck. Good freaking luck.
I think they knew it already. David Bakhtiari was already mentioning on the Badlands podcast like a month and a half ago, we're expecting to be sorry this year.
To suck.
Like,
yep. For me, though, it was his delivery, bro. I think for him, he was talking about how, like, yeah, they're going to suck. Like, he was trying to distance himself from, like, hey, bro, you're still a Packer. You're not going anywhere. What are you? It's we. Y'all are going to suck, right? Like, and he can say, like, yeah, they're in a rebuild. And I was just like, that's odd.
Tried to toe the line. I think he really thought he was going to end up in a package.
But even LaFleur, though, right? During the freaking, the GMs, the owners meeting lunch thing, right? People are asking questions. He's like, hey, y'all need to be more reserved about what to expect from freaking Love, right? Like, that's not – Aaron Rodgers is an all-time great. Let's go ahead and just tell her back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Love's going to be some growing pain. Like, he's literally telling people, like, yo, chill. He ain't that good. Relax. It's going to be a process. And it's funny to me because, like, Packers fans are trying to say, like, oh, man, this is – they extended freaking Love. They showing how much they freaking trust him. No, they didn't. All they did was they were able to get freaking Love for some reason to sign the 5th-year option without the guarantees. So that they're going to save $10 million on it if he sucks, right? Like, rather it to be $22 million guaranteed, now it's $23 million he could potentially make if he doesn't suck. But if he does, it's only $10 million. Like, it was an incredibly smart move for the Packers, but it actually doesn't show that they trust in what Love can do, but they're going to go ahead and hedge their bets. Hey, we're hoping he can go ahead and elevate to what we would like him to be. But if he's not, it's easy to cut him next year with freaking $10 million cap hit versus guaranteed $22 million. It's genius by the Packers. But if you look at Packers fans, oh, man, they give him an extension, like they believe in him. It's the same 5th-year option, but cheaper. I don't know why Love took it. Taking it makes me wonder whether or not he's confident in his own ability. Man, let me go ahead and get this freaking $10 million because after they see me play next year, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? But we'll see.
That iceberg is deeper than what people see on the surface.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. So, like we've been saying, bro, I just come for this season to get here. It's going to be great. I'm taking.
All right, so Tigo had a good one here while we wrap up. What you got over or under on this?
Fired 1.5 seasons. No, I'm gonna take the under as well, bro. I look. We had the LaFleur experience in our house. We saw how that panned out, right? It lasted all of a year, 2 years, and he didn't have an Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if Matt LaFleur's a good coach. We don't know if he is or not, like in all actuality. When you look at most Packers fans, they're saying, like, well, the reason we didn't like him is because for the last 3-4 years, he's been freaking doing his own thing, running his own offense. So you mean the 2 MVP seasons was Aaron Rodgers, not LaFleur? Right. And then they'll start to backpedal like, well, some of it was LaFleur. I'm like, no, pick one. Either LaFleur had a great offense in play and Aaron Rodgers dominated, or Aaron Rodgers is doing his own thing at the line of scrimmage and LaFleur's just there getting credit for it. Which one is it? So I started calling freaking Matt LaFleur the Tyrone Lue of the NFL, right? Like,
no,
you know I'm saying Ty Lue has LeBron James. Look great, right? And he didn't. He looked like trash. And then now LaFleur is becoming, and to me, I'm like, so you're saying like once Aaron Rodgers comes out, you guys are going to finally realize whether or not you have a legitimate coach. And some of them have come around to realizing, like, well, shit, when you put it that way, I guess we're about to find out if he's good or not. Yeah, you are. Because a quarterback can hide so many things, man. An elite quarterback can make the bad just disappear. It's just one of those things. And the Packers really don't know if LaFleur's offense is going to work in the NFL. They really don't know if LaFleur's a good NFL head coach. Because to their own words, the issue with freaking Aaron Rodgers is he hasn't been bought in since Love came on board. Okay, since Love came on board, Aaron Rodgers has won 2 MVPs. You're telling me he wasn't bought into the system, into the coaching, and he won 2 MVPs. So you're telling me Aaron Rodgers is that dude, and y'all have no clue what your coach is bringing to the table. And then now they're just like, shit. And you opened the can of worms. I'm going off what you guys said. So I'm loving it, man. So, yeah, Matt LaFleur might be the Tyronn Lue of the NFL, man. We're about to find out.
Yeah, that's tough. It is an interesting situation because I've kind of heard similar thoughts when Packers fans were talking to me. So generally, it's kind of like a 3-headed monster. Either you believe Aaron Rodgers pulled a Russell Wilson, took control of the offense and said, yep, this is what we're doing. Or you believe Matt LaFleur is a really solid head coach for you. But to Teagle's point, why is Jordan Love seeming like he's going to struggle this season? You guys are predicting a bad year from your own players. Max. Or Nathaniel Hackett was actually the engine that was making things run, and why Aaron Rodgers loved him so much and had those 2 back-to-back seasons, even though he wasn't a play caller. And so either you're saying Nathaniel Hackett's season with the Broncos as a head coach really was an exception to the rule, or he really is that strong of a foundational offensive coach. And not only did you let him walk away, you let Aaron Rodgers walk away. And so now you're stuck with a quarterback that you should have been developing for 3 years as your primary focus. and a bunch of players in your own room that don't even believe you guys will get past 5 wins. I don't know how you feel you're set up for success, even though you got a potential first-round pick out of us. Like, really, that's really all you got. Got a couple picks this year and a first, and you're still sitting on your face. I picked the over just because I think if they are really going to be that trash, then yeah, we're looking at a Drake May or I forget Williams. The other kid's name. Yeah, or you're looking at a Caleb Williams. Maybe they give him that year or 2 to reset if they really are that good. I've been hearing like Trevor Lawrence to Andrew Luck comparisons, but
yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. The Caleb Williams thing has me like laughing. He's a USC quarterback. Let's stop it. Let us freaking stop it.
History is not on their side.
No, it's not. Like, we've never seen the transition. It's never happened. Joe Namath is the anomaly, right? Let's just be honest. And that was decades upon decades ago. So every time I hear a USC quarterback's going to be great, I'm like, what are we doing? We've seen this story before. Why are we still on this freaking – all right, whatever. It ain't our problem anymore. But, yeah, I truthfully – I hope the Packers decide to go ahead and package the first-round pick we give them, that late 30s first-round pick we give them, their first-round pick, which is going to be probably high anyway, a couple of others, and then they go after Caleb Williams. I'm not a believer in freaking USC quarterbacks. I just seen it too many times. And again, I know that's freaking kind of jacked up. You can't do that. People are different. Cool. But we've seen it multiple times from USC. They just don't transition, man, to the NFL. Call it what it is, but I don't know, man. I'm just interested to see the season play out. Something tells me the Jets might be giving up a very, very late first-round pick, and the Packers' own draft pick itself might be a very, very high one, right? So they might want to couple those 2 things together to move up to number 1 and go after their quarterback of choice, because when the coach is telling you to relax and chill, the expectations are too high. When their star offensive tackle is telling you y'all need to relax, that team is going to suck while he's still on the roster. Man,
I don't think I've heard that. I can't recall a single New York Jets player saying like, "Yeah, we're looking at a 3-13 season."
Ever. I've never heard it before. Even in
Jamal Adams was one of our most toxic dudes, and he never came out and was like, "We gonna
never said that, bro.
Trash this year."
Yeah, no. To me, watching that whole freaking breakdown by Bakatari, I always mess his name up. I was sitting there like, he didn't just say that, right? So I had the wife watch it, and she's like, he pretty much just like said we're gonna fucking be trash this year. I'm like, okay, he did say that, right? That's what he said. He's literally saying, and he's making sure he detaches himself from that. Like, y'all are gonna be trash this year, not him. No, it's you can't make this stuff up, bro. Like you really can't.
I love it.
Like I said before, season can't get here fast enough, bro. I'm so freaking pumped for it. I can't wait.
I'm hyped. It is kind of trash. We're hitting that slow season now. We're like, it's either gonna be a bunch of random new. Like, I'm seeing stuff that's coming out about like how the Aaron Rodgers trade went down, and I'm like, I don't really care about any of that anymore.
I don't care.
Like,
I don't care. He's
here.
He's a Jet. I don't care.
Yeah, can we get some mini camp news? Can I know how the rookies are doing?
Let me go ahead and get a couple more pictures. Let me get some more of them freaking slow motion shots of A-Rod throwing that ball to freaking Garrett Wilson. Give me some of that. That'll get me through my days.
Facts. Yeah, I don't need to know that Sauce Gardner doesn't know Jessica Alba. Just run me this Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson connection.
Jessica Alba's my age, man. Of course, Sauce doesn't freaking know who the heck she is, bro. Like, he was when the honey came out or whatever, he was like freaking just being born.
Yeah.
You think
You could have been one of the kids in that little concert show.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly, bro. Like, what are we doing?
Facts. Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's gonna be a very good season. When was that? We're looking at like a week from now, right? That what's it called now? What's the new documentary we have coming out again? It's not they renamed it. Flight 23 or something like that.
Flight 23. Yeah. You're right. That kicks off.
Yeah.
The 11th? Isn't it?
I thought it was the 14th.
Yeah, either way, it's close.
You might be right.
Gonna keep us entertained. Yeah, that's gonna keep us entertained.
Can't wait for that. Yeah, they did good with these like last little documentaries they came out with.
And it looks like it's gonna go ahead and combine a good amount of the off-season stuff that we're all kind of guesstimating about, and bring it to light. Which, my gosh, man. Could you imagine having a camera inside the meeting where they met with Aaron Rodgers in freaking California, bro? Like, I'm intrigued about what that's gonna look like. Like, you're right. There's some good stuff coming in a week's time. So,
lots of juicy juice. Get your Capri Suns.
Yeah. There it is. Get your gushers ready. Yo, it's coming.
Hey, Takis on deck and hot Cheetos, bro. We about to have a good time.
Oh man,
I love it. Well, I think I went longer than I was expecting, so I know somebody's blowing me up right now.
I just saw my phone. But I got 3 calls to call back right now.
Yep, that's wifey right now. Well, we appreciate you guys coming through. Gino should have his electricity paid for next time, Dark Soldiers. So
it should be good.
We'll catch you guys again. Appreciate you guys coming through.
All right, y'all.
Jets.
Have a good one.